How's it, everybody? How you doing on this Thursday? Yes, it's Rebellious Ruth in the house. And I've also got two more people in the house. We've got ward councillors from the DA. So welcome, Sean Wilkinson, and welcome, Chantal de Jager.
Leanne, Chantal is her sister.
Sorry, forgive me. I don't know why I said Chantal. I think I'm thinking of a friend called de Jager. So Leanne, sorry, forgive me. So weird. So
No
welcome.
Thank you. How
All
you
right.
doing, Ruth?
No, good. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Sean, I know with you, it was actually amazing. I didn't even know that you get ward councillors, okay? And about 5 years ago, I remember there was a group and someone said, meet your local ward councillor. And I was like, what's a ward councillor and what do they do? So, and you've definitely done a lot. And I'm sure Leanne has too. So, yeah, take it away.
So I think ladies first, Leanne, seeing as it's your first time, we'll be gentle. But maybe in your short time as a ward councillor, tell us what you actually do compared to what you thought you were going to do.
Yes, thank you. I used to be a PR counsellor, and everybody, that's a different species of being as well. But we won't go into that one. But being a ward counsellor is you are something of everything. People think you're an engineer, an electrician, a plumber, etc. I wish I was actually, but we are here to do all the service delivery requests, to resolve any issues that residents may have that are related to the municipality, as well as champion many causes. And this is where I work well with Sean, because we seem to find causes, or causes seem to find us, and then we seem to feel that we have to champion all of them. So what the difference is about being a ward councillor is that every day is different from the next. Apart from the portfolios that we serve on, and we happen to serve on the same portfolio, you never know what was going to happen in your day. So you have to be extremely flexible, have lots of energy, and in my case, drink coffee nonstop, and be very open-minded and innovative of how you're going to tackle different issues.
Wow. Okay. So that's brilliant. And I mean, as just a normal civilian, I mean, obviously you guys get called up at all sorts of crazy hours. You know, there's obviously a fine line with family, but I definitely know, well, in my experience, you guys are very approachable with any problem. But it's crazy. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they said, but the DA haven't put posters up in where I live. And this person took it so affrontly. I said, well, you know, I'm sure there's a reason, but it's sort of, they're more important things than posters. That's what I feel. It's about the work that you do, right?
Yeah, Ruth, the funny thing is the poster is a phenomenon.
Correct.
Posters get hung. We've got a very tight schedule on the way we operate and the way we get things done. So posters get hung, they get put up in strategic places. We start with a get out to register. Then we have another batch of posters about John Steenhuisen, our national leader. We have posters for the Randall Williams campaign to be executive mayor. Then we have posters, so it's supposed to cascade. So at the top of the poll, you'll see John Steenhuisen. Then you'll see your municipal candidate, Randall Williams, and then you'll see yourself underneath that if you've been selected to be a ward councillor. So yes, we rolled out, we have teams, we have activists, we have volunteers, we have a campaign team, and lo and behold, a week later or 2 days later or the same day, those posters get taken down. Funny thing happens, they get repurposed. I believe there are parties that really believe in recycling. So what they do is they immediately take down the DA poster, they slap on a sticker with their party or their candidate, and they put it back up. So there's purpose, and there's absolutely some modus operandi in that. In my case, I hung some posters, and when I went back to check, all I found was my cable ties. So I got some more posters. Our campaign team organized some more posters for me, and I started hanging those again recently. So if you see me looking down on you, I've tried to place them at different heights. So some I'm looking you in the eyes, and some I'm definitely looking down on you for fear of them being removed. So the poster is a phenomenon. But if you're going to decide on who to vote for and how we look on those photos, You know, some of us are not that photographic. Then you're missing the point. Yeah, more like pornographic. But you're missing the point. You're missing the point completely.
You in a blue G-string. Hey man, have you started your OnlyFans page? Hey, can you imagine? But you had the bod back in the day. Hey, you're working on it, getting it back into shape.
You know what? Back in the day, we're talking before Rip van Winkle came out of the cave. Yeah, let's not go there. Leanne, maybe you could take it from here. The poster phenomena.
Yes, posters like a poster war. Actually, we set up. We operate like a machine. We call ourselves the Blue Machine. Everything has got a timeline. It's all worked out scientifically. The teams are all worked out, and we roll according to a schedule, like Sean mentioned. So as our posters go up, the posters go down again. Then we replace them, and then it's time for the next poster. So it's the slogan poster turn, or the leader's turn, and then our own face posters turn. And we have got a maintenance team that then erect them again. This particular campaign has been very, very strange in that we found our posters being behind other parties' posters or being used for other purposes. But as Sean says, I don't think posters are important, but it's actually about getting the job done.
So,
and there's many things to a campaign. There's pamphlets, there's posters,
there's phone calls. I know we got a few phone calls. I think if anyone's got a question, if anyone wants to, please highlight at Rebellious Ruth or in the comments, and Sean and Leanne will answer. So, I mean, I've definitely noticed, especially in Pretoria, you could see in the last few years what happened when the ANC with that whole fiasco, when they tried to steal back the Tshwane municipality. In fact, my son the other day said, we were talking about acronyms for the ANC, and I said, yeah, but there's not one that talks about thieves. And he said, yes, there is. He said, crooks. I said, oh yes, of course, African National Crooks. Excellent. So, I mean, you guys, there's a huge difference in Pretoria now that you guys have got it back. Things are happening. I mean, I'll never forget in that time when they were still there, we get people coming to switch off electricity in houses on a Friday afternoon, and then we'd show them our proof of payment, and then they'd run. They'd literally jump in the car and run, looking for bribes. So that I haven't seen for a long time since the DA has been back. But no, I can tell you now, we need to get this country back into the hands of a capable, efficient, and well-run party. And my money's on you.
Your money's on us. It's money well spent. It's a good wager to make. I can tell you, even the Auditor General agrees with you. Where the DA governs, it governs well. We're the top 5 municipalities that are run, metros that are run in the country. And I think it's only getting better and better. I know that it's been tough. The COVID has been tough. People have really struggled. We've had challenges. People are scared to come out of their homes, to come and do work, to come and fix potholes and street lights. And we've got to take cognizance of their fear of reality and the COVID pandemic. But to get a city to work, everybody has to work together. So if you see what the executive mayor has done, he started fixing. You can't fix the people. Look all over the country. We've got millions of people that work for public service. Even in metropolitans like ourselves, we have more than 20,000 people that work for the municipality. The council is a minority coalition, and that's a challenge at best. But the municipality officials and the directors and all the shadow acting ministers and directors and DGs and all the things that you get, those are just titles I'm making up, because half the time the acting officials have got a subordinate or somebody else that they defer to or delegate to, and we've got to get that right. So what the executive mayor and his cabinet are doing is they're trying to fix the system, which means that people get paid to do the job that they've been given the tasks to do, and that has to get done. If the system works, once you've reported something, once you've got a reference number, once the plumbing has been sorted, the backfill has been done, you can wait for the next opportunity. But what's happening is councillors are moving in as call centres, trying to prompt and persuade and plead and beg and cajole officials to simply do the jobs that they get paid for. Remember, officials are recruited. They are staff members of the municipality. They don't get elected every 5 years in an election on a street poll in a municipal election. They have jobs notwithstanding the campaigns that we run as political parties. So if they get to work, I think we're already on a better track. So we've been having these talking Tuesdays. The mayor was in Mucklenuke the other evening working with, talking to the Mucklenuke and Lucas Run Property Owners and Ratepayers Association. And almost every question that the people asked, all the stakeholders from the Hill, we either were doing it, attempting to do it, or able to do it in the future, depending on one thing. At the moment, we're pushing. You'll see in our campaign, Get Things Done, the DA gets things done. We're talking about what we've already achieved. And then we're going to build on that, and then we're going to improve on that. And that's all about service delivery. So if you look at the National Manifesto for Local Government Elections, if you look at the Executive Mayor's Manifesto, the 10-point plan, it's all about getting things done, improving those building blocks, making sure that things happen, making sure that the system works. If the system works, you'll find that councillors become more strategic, maybe more political, a little less populism. You don't vote for me because your lights are on or lights are off or the lights are on during the day. These are things that are supposedly governed by a Municipal Finance and Management Act, Systems Act, Structures Acts. But if you don't get the officials to do it, and there's a law that says councillors can't instruct them, then it's a continuous war of attrition. And once we fix that, I think we're going to be on a better footing.
Yeah, it's literally from the ground up. And I mean, so I think people in government positions, especially I think in Pretoria, are so used to the routine, and they're like little minions, you know. I don't know if they've got that passion. They just see paycheck to paycheck. I mean, would you guys be willing to re-strategize the entire staffing of certain departments at least? Because I can tell you now, with regards to meter readings and electricity readings and water readings, I don't know about Cape Town or the rest, but yeah, Pretoria's definitely good. Look, I think they're getting it right. You guys are trying. You're always sending out SMSs, where to send your readings, where to send stuff. But maths is important, Maths is important. But I see we've got, okay, Esperant says here, hello. Spam calls and text-based emails are so useless and don't show results. That's his opinion, obviously. What is your feedback on that? I mean, do you find that works? Is there something else maybe you could storm to try? I mean, the thing is, communication it's hard. Billboards, I think clever billboards, ads. South Africans have great sense of humor, right? Like we do. And clever ads definitely work. But yeah, so maybe, parties
Well,
can
we've
think
got a
about that.
multifaceted approach to this. Yeah, we've already rolled out television adverts last week and radio adverts. And we on social media, we're very active, as everybody knows. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We've got accounts on all those on levels, because I think even on my side, to read something takes time, and we're in a society now where we want a quick fix, where we want something that's loud, that's got music to it, that looks appealing. So we are focused on our social media aspect of marketing far more now than the robocalls and the emails, etc. That remains one of the aspects to marketing, but it's taken over now by social media, by advertising on television, by radio adverts. And all of those are out there right now. And we do something every day in Tshwane. We do something every day with our different councillors on TikTok. We are all allowed to have our own accounts, so that anything that we do, even if it's a 30-second clip, it shows you in action doing something that's not just made up and just fuddy-duddy language. It's actually something that appeals to somebody. You know, for one of the aspects is last week with the opening of one of the clubs, and we've got a large community, a rainbow network community. I think we're the only party that has a rainbow community called DA, Rainbow Network called Dawn. You know, we opened one of the clubs. The mayor went to the clubs. members of society from the Rainbow Network, including
Mhm.
transgender people and others, were all there having a party in their shorts, sometimes without shirts. Those kind of things we put on social media. You know, it's not always about
Yeah.
politics and politics. It's about life. Life is fun.
Yeah. No, I see there are a couple of comments in the couple of questions in the comments. Listen to me, and it is a tricky topic, especially now. So Roadrunner asks, and I mean, obviously, you guys are entitled to answer or not, or whatever the case may be. But how do they think they will fare against parties like the ACDP that is fully against vax passports? Most DA voters aren't happy with the DA supporting the vax mandates, passports, and also transgenderism. That's a hard one. Wow. Go Roadrunner. Right in there.
Go Roadrunner. So the good news is, going back to the campaign, all these messages, everybody has the freedom of choice. If you've got vaccinate or ventilate. So I've made my choices. Those are my choices. I don't speak out about, because when I do speak out, people get very emotional and they get very caught up in it, because I'm not with you, I'm against you. But I also have arguments with people who believe that the earth is flat, and you've got to respect everybody. The party is very diverse. We accept all people who want to be part of the conversation. If your conversation is pro-vaccine, put your point across. Give us your reasons. Give us examples. Show us the evidence. If you make the decision and you stand with your conviction, so be it. I don't find, and I haven't found that since I joined the DA, that we're judgmental. We take a position. We believe in that. The party then decides, especially if we make decisions in our local caucus or our provincial caucus or our national caucus. There's sometimes you get a free vote, and people can say, like there's been controversial other areas where people have said, I disagree with the party position on this. But you know what? When the party eventually has their collective agreement to move forward in a certain direction, 100% support the party. That's what we stand for. We're a party of consensus, and if there are people that are anti it, let them make the position heard. There are many places for you to be on a soapbox, give your opinions, give your facts, give the facts that you received from people, and I'm not going to judge you either way.
Yeah, I think as South Africans, we're so independent thinking. We're so different to the rest of the world. Even as a collective, we're completely different, and we're so individualistic. I think the one thing about South Africans is that we recognize that we're all individuals. And I think this is where this whole vax passport, I mean, we see what's going on all over the world, and for us it's very, I think it's very intimidating, and it's very scary. And I see there are lots of comments about these and it's hard. I mean, constitutionally, I don't know if it will eventually have to go to the Constitution. I think that's where it will have to end up. See, again, another question, the same kind of thing. I don't know, Leanne, if you want to take a stance on it, or it's such a difficult.
Well, it's about free will. I mean, yeah. I don't think anybody can force anybody to do anything. I mean, I think the responsible attitude to have is to follow what science has proved and to follow what statistics show. But in all our families, even, you have people that are divided on this issue. I can't go and force my children and say you have to be vaccinated. It will be their decision whether they should be vaccinated or not, based on the evidence that is presented to them. So as you write, this will be a constitutional issue because everyone has got free will. So I can't see that. I mean, I do think personally, I think it is the responsible thing to do. However, I know people, and some of my best friends refuse to take the vaccine for their own reasons, and that is their right to do so.
And then we have Mr. Brandon, who has got a couple of simple questions. Should I read them out, Sean? Thanks, Leanne.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, please.
Is the DA's view you see, it's vaccines, to encourage vaccines? Does the DA support vaccines passports? Number 3, does the DA disavow triple BBEE as a failed policy preventing economic growth. So the third one, I think, the vaccine thing is something personally I'm also stuck on, like on the fringe, but until there's maybe better data and things, but well, that's my personal opinion.
So,
No one's
Ruth,
forcing.
let's just, I mean, we can make the whole show about vaccines, and you'll probably have to get Jack Bloom or somebody else on, because I've got my opinion. I've taken my decision. My family supports me. I support them. We don't, as a party, and John Steenhuisen said it, we don't support a mandatory vaccination by the government. We don't support that. So please, if you want to come in later, listen to what I said at this time. 21 minutes, 17 seconds. 17 seconds. We do not support mandatory vaccination by the government. What we do as a party, and I do as a community leader, and I know a lot of other people, and some don't. We've got people who don't agree with us. But what we do is we continue to encourage individuals to take vaccines for protection. As I said, I spoke to a doctor yesterday, and the doctor who got COVID and eventually had to do some kind of diving technique when you go scuba diving. Otherwise, he would not have made it. You've got ventilate or vaccinate. So we do encourage individuals to take vaccines for protection against any adverse effects of the COVID-19. But again, the DA believes that making this mandatory takes away people's freedom. And so John Steenhuisen has made a party position on it. I'm in agreement with him, and I think people must make their own decisions. These are adult people. We're not vaccinating 12-year-olds. Everybody who wants to, who has the privilege or has the decision to make, is past 18. 18, you get a driver's license. 18, you can drink. 18, you can vaccinate if you want to. We encourage you to do that.
Yeah, no, look, I still think, to be honest, I still think there's lots of data coming out of everywhere. And I think it is people's choice. And I appreciate John Steenhuisen's thing to not make it mandatory. But what is he going to do about this BB? Because this BBE triple 5 stars and down the line another few elephants and EEE, and it's destroying our country. It is putting people that can do a job, that have the ability, whether they colored, black, white, mixed race, Asian, born here, at such a disadvantage. Indian, I mean, pink, let's just say it, pink, black, blue. I mean, people say that, but I mean, it's ridiculous. It's such a disadvantage. It's literally cutting everyone out. Anyone who could potentially do the job. What is the party policy on something like that? Like,
Listen,
I have to immigrate for my son. My son's a white male. There's no ways he'll have a job here in the next 5 years.
Understand one thing. We're an opposition party. The government has made these rules.
Sorry, Leanne?
In the government. It's a government law. Am I right, Leanne?
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to jump in there?
Yes, but we've come out strongly against this. About the race-based redress policies, because as long as South Africans are excluded from opportunity, it's more about opportunity rather based on than race, the economy can't grow. So we've actually made a big stance on this very aspect. I think the beginning of last year already, we distanced ourselves from this.
If people Google, they should Google
investment, where you have investment in jobs.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think maybe Ruth,
Google?
Put it in the comments. People should Google the, I think it's the economic justice policy. Gwen and Gwenya. And
the economic justice policy.
Economic justice policy. And if all South Africans are excluded from opportunity based on race, then the economy can't grow. So check out the economic justice policy. If people want to find it quicker, type in Gwen and Gwenya, and you'll get a video, you'll get the document, you'll get the speaking points, you'll get the frequently asked questions and answers. And then you will see that the DA criticizes the government. They continually criticize them, and they want to make sure that there's possibility of inclusion in the economy for all people, all races. If you make it a race-based policy, you're excluding all the other races. And that's one of the main sticking points. So if you want to understand the policy, go look at the policy framework. It took many hours, thousands of hours of consultation, people that are in business, people that are in the public service, people that are in politics. The big thing with DA is we don't merge. We don't merge government and business and politics. We try to treat them separately with our Chinese wall, whereas other parties that merge it. So depending on which hat they're wearing, as the entrepreneur of the year or minister of the month, people change their story depending on what their audience deserves or desires from them. The DA is very strong on it, and the DA has a plan to improve it and a proper redress policy in the economic justice policy. So people just need to go and look. We are firmly opposed to exclusive black empowerment.
All right. Well, that gives someone like me hope, and someone with obviously people who are sort of thinking of immigrating, because it's a huge conversation. I know at parties and briars, and people are like, but and I think it's now or never. Like, people need to realize not only the municipal elections, but the next government elections. It's all very well. There's now this little party, nice party, and that little 3-letter party, and what happened to other party in the last elections that disappeared into nothingness. They're watering down the subsistence of the strength of what we should be fighting for. And I think that's what gets me so, yes, you're entitled to have other little parties, but that's democratic. But when it comes to, I think, severe things like government elections, there has to be, like Formula One, you have to have your qualifying, your first entrance, and the top 5 at best have to be given a push. Not worrying about 5 million other little party. I don't know. It's
yeah. Let me tell you what I think, and I leave the politics to the politicians. We get caught up in the argument of privilege and power. We're not caught up in the argument of how to fight inequality. We're not caught up in the argument in how to get people better transport or better access to transport. We're not caught up in arguments. We've had other parties in council. All they do is argue about when are they going to sit in the back of the Fortuners that the DA cabinet drives. When will they get the bigger salaries? When will they get the titles? We don't have arguments about feeding schemes, and we don't have arguments about health schemes, and we don't have arguments about things where the people are actually suffering, the people the masses that we're meant to represent. So once we stop arguing about where your poster is on the poll, and we start actually discussing solutions for how to govern a city, govern a province, govern the country, and start making those things happen, then I think we should be taken more seriously as politicians or as public representatives. Until that happens, until the only argument is what color T-shirt you wear and where you are on the poll during an election, then I think we're missing the point completely. The whole concept of public service is service, and service is servant leadership. And I think that's missing in a lot of parties and a lot of these spectrums of government. Until that conversation happens, until the gender-based violent argument is the one why we're throwing chairs. We're not throwing chairs in council because people are getting raped every single day. Students are getting raped in Sunnyside. We're throwing chairs because of which side of the room you sit on. It's a circus. It's bizarre that is what we're caught up in. And if you're a first-time councillor and you sit in council and you think, here I am, I've made this decision to save the country, to save my province, to save my city, and the first 11-hour argument is about the color of a three-piece suit, do me a favor. You're wasting everybody's time, including the masses who believe that you're there for them. You're not there for them. You're there for your own privilege, your own power, and your own pocket.
Yeah, and I think that's been the assumed political ideal from a lot of majority, let's say, opposing parties. But Leanne, when I spoke to you, you had that brilliant saying, and I don't know if I can catch it quite like you said it, but if you're basically not voting in this election, or in the government elections especially, you basically voting default. You're enabling the bad guy, or
The ruling party.
the ruling party to win.
Yeah.
But just because I know so many
Yeah,
people,
you do, because you basically
I'm going to be in my garden, I'm going to be braaiing, why should I bother? It's a mission, whatever the silly little selfish. It's just like, well, then you're enabling like the biggest arsehole in the room to step forward by not putting it there. And I've always felt that.
Exactly.
I've always,
It's voter apathy.
it's like three men standing watching a rape. One's holding her down, the other one's doing the action, and the other one's watching. Well, I'm sorry, the guy watching is just as guilty. That's my opinion. That's honestly, and if you're just going to watch,
that is the issue.
Even your dog agrees.
Yeah,
Leanne.
well, that's why there is a saying. Yeah, I know. Sorry, you get the government that you vote for. So if you don't vote for, that's what we voted for. Unfortunately, it is like that. It's very difficult. So we often answer those questions, why should we vote? And I can just tell you, in the recent by-elections, which I won my last by-election as well in April, one of my colleagues won his ward by 3 votes. And he got those votes by going through the lists and all those things that we do to check, have we covered everyone? And he convinced these people to please come out in their pajamas. And they voted. And he won Ward 3. But Ward 1, what's it? Ward 1, but Ward 3, by 3 votes.
Ward 3,
and those 3
3
votes, I mean, he can't do anything in council. Ward 3 by 3 votes. And I mean, that changed everything, because now he's in a position to actually deliver services. If that had not happened, he would not be there. We could not assist anybody. So it makes a huge difference when we say 3 votes count. I mean, the poor man thought that he'd lost the election. At the last minute, we've got the clip where we actually told him, you've just won. He was like, he dumbfounded. And that's where we say every vote counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
Sorry, Sean.
Go. I wanted to drive that point home, Ruth. Every vote counts. In a low turnout election, like what we're expecting because of the COVID pandemic, because of the emotions of people, because of their current situation, we're expecting a low turnout election. That's why it's very important. If we're going to get the 50+1, the maximum registered voters must go and vote. They must go and vote, even if it's the last thing on Monday night, and you've taken a long weekend. You can take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, come back Monday, freshen up, and come and vote. Because here's the trick. If we get the majority, I think you're going to see incredible change. Because once you're in the majority, you're not struggling with this minority coalition. Are you with us today? Are you not with us tomorrow? It's a very difficult challenge. And I think there'll be big decisions made by the DA about, are we in opposition? Are we in authority? Are we in administration? Because not being able to get things done is very frustrating. Our whole logo, our whole slogan, our whole catchphrase, our whole campaign effort is about getting things done. Based on our track record, based on the policies that we have, based on all the things that we want to implement, based on what we have implemented, this is the opportunity to make that difference. So it takes every single person. And the split vote, I'm in a marginal ward. So up until the last vote is counted, you don't know if you've won the ward or not won the ward. We have different categories. So if you understand the vote, you have 2 votes. One, you get a vote, you get a ballot for the ward councillor. That's why in local elections, you have to vote in the ward where you live, because you are selecting the public representative that is representing you in council. The person that will be the liaison, the go-between, the spokesperson, the interferer, the intervener. So if you vote your first vote, it's for the ward councillor. So the poster you see, if there are any left, the poster you see on the poll, that's the person that you're voting for. The party that he represents, the person, if you've gotten to know him, his brand of comments in politics, in my sense, it's common sense politics. Leanne's got her own brand about Duracell Bunny, energy Bunny. She gets to everything quicker and faster than the rest of us. But the point is, you make your first decision based on your ward councillor. Your second decision is your proportional representative vote, which means that the city council, the way it's written, they take all the votes on the PR ballot. They divide it by 107 wards, and then they divide it by the votes that were cast. If you have the majority of votes, let's say eventually you end up being, there's 5,000 votes average. Last time we got 53 times, I think it was 6,400 in 2016, which gave us the majority of the PR seats, which gave us the majority to be the biggest party in the coalition, the minority coalition. So people have two votes. One, they vote for their ward councillor, and secondly, they vote for their PR councillor or for the government that they want. So it's still an emotional thing. I know I've been approached by Johnson & Johnson to be the poster child for the new bipolar medication that they're bringing out in the summer, because on a Monday, people can love you. On a Tuesday, they hate you. If the power's off, they dislike you. They phone you at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, if I can't sleep, you can't sleep. Madam, I don't know why you wake at 3 o'clock, because we don't have like a fire engines, fire station, electricians sliding down poles. They get up at 7, they come to work at 8, they have a cup of tea, they get their job cards, and then they come out and they start fixing power. So it's a very tricky thing. It's an emotional time. I think there'll be people that walk up to the poll and they'll be undecided. They'll be standing at the ballot box and they'll take a moment, take a deep breath, and then decide. Once you've made your decision, stick to your decision, support the person that you voted for, and I guarantee you they're going to try and support you. Leanne, some pearls of wisdom.
I just see so a lot of people are rambling, but still on the look. Honestly, I think until we know exactly what the data shows with the vax and the jab, we'll know exactly what goes for what. But it is very scary, I must say. Being a South, I think because we have been forced to do, with especially the dorm pass, all of that. It's. I mean, not that it ever affected me, but I mean, for others, I think it is very emotional. I think that's why we are so passionate about it. But so Brett Sessom says here, and let me just highlight, what is the DA's position on the SAPS? More funding or more quality officers or less police corruption?
Leanne, maybe you can handle the technical questions.
Sean, are you going to take this one? Because the police is a national function. So,
yes.
that's so important. If we're talking from a municipal, we've got actually no say there.
Exactly. And this is the point that I think needs to be
it's run nationally and provincially.
From the top of the koppies, as my friend would say, who lives in Cape Town. She says, the rest of South Africa doesn't have mountains, maybe Lesotho, but that's not really South Africa. But rest of us have koppies. In Cape Town, they have mountains. But it has to be shouted. People think, because the DA runs the province, like in Cape Town, they have full right to control everything. And this is key because they don't. They still have to get orders from the ANC, which is the government. And this is where people, I think, forget.
That's the issue. It's like yes.
Becky Cherry is not a DA. Is not a DA minister.
Nationally. And so
sorry, Leanne, start again.
Who?
Okay. Leanne. Okay. Yeah, Becky.
No, I mean, it's like with hospitals. Sean's making a joke.
Yes, Joanne.
But that is the case when they don't realize in the municipality or whatever. I'm going to get bipolar just now. It is a fact that, but of course, nobody wants to have they want to have a SAPS that works. We all want that. We all want law enforcement that's there to protect the people and to make sure that bylaws are enforced and that people are living in a safe environment. That's a big issue for us in South Africa, So of course we have to fight for the fact again where our municipalities are, where the DA is running the municipality. Even that seems to work because although we don't control them, while we are in the majority, we can at least then put pressure on the national government in those areas to say this is not working, because it's not working.
I was actually, I'm just, it almost feels like the current government is in a state of dictatorship. And there should be something in our constitution that perhaps the opposition does need to be given at least 2 terms, concurrent terms, after a period of time. Maybe, because I can tell you now, right now, it feels like a dictatorship. Like
So
any other African.
if you control all the guns, apart from the guns in the hands of criminals, you are the government of the day. So whether you control the police force, the correctional services, the Hawks, the Crime Intelligence Division, the National Prosecuting Authority, so Hawks or Scorpions, I always get them confused. Your mounted police, your diplomatic police, all these people that work. I think somebody told me yesterday that the security services in our country, the bodyguards that are SAP's delegations, have cost billions over the last 25 years. And I must tell you, I'm not convinced that the average minister needs 20, 30 people to walk around him when he goes to the beach to chase surfers around. I think the question that the gentleman asked about corruption, that's your core evil of all the failures in our country. If we can't sort out the corruption, we can't sort out anything. Whether you manage a church or manage a police force, if there's corruption, you're losing. That's the end of the day.
But Sean, honestly, sorry, in politics, I mean, obviously, I know it from A to Z. In any country in the world, there is a little bit of corruption. There's even in businesses, there's obviously a bit of jiggling and juggling here and there. I mean, given that's a humanoid problem, everyone likes to, you know what I mean, a little bit of here, a little bit there, it's a human condition. But I think when it comes to this current government, it's just ridiculous. It's like we have to at least try something different. We have to. And
that's why the DA is here, Ruth. That's why the DA is here. The symbiosis, the cohesion, the integration in the Western Cape. Why do you think so many people, I don't know the latest poll of the people that want Cape Town to exit or the Western Cape to exit from South Africa? Because 700,000 people believe that they're better off without the government of South Africa. They don't necessarily 100% every one of them support the DA, but let me tell you a thing, it's a damn sight better than what we have in the rest of the country. Luckily, we've had some opportunity in Tshwane and people that speak to me saying, listen, I can see the changes. But talking about criminality or intention, I often sign documents and then I keep the pen. I don't know why I do that, but it happens. But I don't have the criminal intent. Understanding that the president of the country is the head of the national executive. He appoints the man or woman that's the national commissioner of the police. And then they have to control and manage the police service. People get caught up on the blue. I don't know if they subconsciously love or hate the DA, so that anything goes wrong, it must be the DA. Let me tell you something. I'm in the DA. I'm impressed with the DA. I'm impressed about where we govern. We govern well. If you don't understand the way the country works, give me a call on my personal number. Please post it. I'll give you some information and some links to just Google. The police is controlled by the government. If the police don't, I mean, you saw the riots with the people that wanted their restaurants opened, where the same police force who don't rush out to chase real criminals, real thugs, real cash in transit heists, which in some cases are probably just campaign funding efforts. But they'll rush out to catch people on surfboards and people wanting to earn a living and people that are come on, do me a favor.
And gunned down with water cannons and all sorts of other
There we go. That's your police force. That's the dictatorship that you're talking about.
So do you think it's, because I actually believe, okay, you might get like a handful here and there in some parts of the world. Like, I'm not saying all SAPs are technically, I do know 1 or 2 oaks that are actually righteous and do it because they believe in the protection of the meek and that they're doing a service. But I think there has to literally be aptitude tests. Like, I really hope that the DA do get into government, because I'd love to see like a review on your work. So in other words, every once a year or every quarter or 2 quarters, you get a little test to say, how have you done in your job? Have you just played Candy Crush? Or have you actually, do you know the laws? You cannot arrest someone for no reason. You cannot just demand that someone get out their car. You know, the stupid, I mean, I can tell you stories of what I know have traumatized people due to the SAPS, traumatized them. And it was all a big ego thing because some guy tuned him. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, it's almost like they missed the entrance exam. And it's obvious. It's like my brother's nephew's cousin got the job. And all of them got the job because it's nepotism at its highest. And that's what icks me. It's like they're not even, I mean, I was hired by the SAPS as a forensic pathologist lab assistant. I was 18 out of school. And I wish I'd done the job, but of course, my little mom I'm an only child, and I've got to go to Delft, and it's going to be dangerous, and blah blah blah. And who do you know in Cape Town? And I'd wish I'd done it because I actually felt back then in 80. How old was I? What year was it? 1997. But literally after 2000, the SAPS went for a ball of poo, and it needs. You know, these are issues I think that whether it's the opposition party or a party should be addressing. We will change the police. We will start, and it's a massive task, but these oaks need to be taken out. The same with BEE. You've got illiterate idiots and people who don't understand logic trying to create logic. It's not normal. Not normal. Sorry.
Okay, so how do we fix that, Ruth? As the lay
could I
person,
just mention something about?
Yeah.
Leslie.
Yeah.
I'm way behind in the comments. Leanne,
Sorry, I
what
just
you
wanted to
say,
answer
please.
the person that was talking about the protest. I wanted
Lost
to answer the person who asked about protests because
okay.
I happen to arrange most of the protests, especially in Tshwane. We don't only just react to protests, to listen to, because I mean, remember, on each side there's two sides of the story. This particular comment, we do send delegations to protest, and he's quite right, or he or she, sorry. When it's we sometimes send large delegations, we sometimes send small delegations. It depends on what the protest is about. But you always listen because the community always brings. Sometimes it's just for rabble rousing, and sometimes it's just mischief making. But they are quite correct that with communities having protests, we do normally send somebody through to attend those. And not only that, we have protests of our own, many. This week we've had, I think, 4 alone in Joburg and Victoria alone. We're just holding one for next week as well. So that's very important. Protests are very important. I know a lot of people, even on our group, say, "Oh no, who's protesting again?" But many times, I do believe that it is a way of getting your voice heard, especially if it gets covered by the media. Many times, unfortunately, the DA has had where the media did not want to cover it, or it depends on each situation. But that is a very important point that person made.
Okay. Well, thank you, Los Solis.
The protest last week that we did, I think, was illegal. But we had to react because Rand Water had let the province down. People were struggling to get water for more than 2 weeks. There was no plan of action. While we were protesting, suddenly the ministers and the people in charge arrived at Gallagher Estates to act or make a soundbite for some newspaper or media outlet that covers them more than us, saying, no, they're here together to make a plan. You didn't have a plan 2 weeks ago when we were approaching ground zero or day zero in Gauteng. Suddenly, because the DA is standing at Gallagher Estates, you want to come and make a statement. But understand one thing, Ruth, to get back to your earlier comment. The DA has a plan. The DA, I mean, you can't get higher or a better reference than the Auditor General. And the Auditor General says, the Auditor General, who I don't think is a DA Auditor General, says you've got every reason to vote for the DA in the upcoming elections because we run municipalities well. Remember, these are municipal elections. We got a bit sidetracked with the government deficiencies and incompetencies. But understand one thing, we're not a party that's spewing out rhetoric of racial division and telling people that, look at them, look at what they're doing. we've actually got a plan to sort things out. John Steenhuisen was saying, remember in Cape Town with all that drama, we were having a little bit of a family squabble. We then, in alignment, in parallel, sorted out and we moved day zero. We sorted out in the management of the Western Cape that there was no shortage of, we never got to day zero. That's a government, that's a party that can govern. We're ready to govern. We're ready to govern the municipalities. We're ready to govern the provinces. We're ready to govern the country.
Well, yeah, you know where my heart lies. So yes, and just to reiterate, Leanne, okay, last minute before I sort of finish off, I think. By the way, thank you everybody for commenting. There's, as you should know, there is obviously a little bit of skepticism. Say it for me, skepticism. Yes,
Skepticism.
Yes.
Skepticism.
And I really think people don't, and I think some people
The
don't grasp.
Skepticism.
Now I'm all confused. Skepticism.
Is it Cadbury slab? Skeptic chocolate.
Yes. I need one of those. I need the
skepticism. Okay, carry on.
And I think people need to understand the massive job that it is, which is no excuse for doing it badly. No excuse for doing it badly. But I think when I have my final comment, Leanne, last few words.
Yes, politics is a cutthroat business. I always say I'm not a politician. I'm just here to get things done. And where we can get things done, the only way we can get things done is people vote for us. That sounds like a political speech. It's not. It's a fact. If you vote for us, we get things done. I can tell you that we have very little sleep. I've been looking at my phone the whole time because the water's just been turned off in my ward. So I've been answering numerous questions here. When is it going to be turned off and when's it going to be turned on? And should I have a shower now, etc. So it's fun. It's exciting. It's never boring, but it is cutthroat, yes. But you have to vote.
You have to vote. I think, Ruth, that's a topic for another meeting with the rebellious Ruth, is when will my water be on and when will my water be off? And should we have a shower? Should we shower now? I think that's a discussion, more adult discussion. We'll start that one later. But here's the trick, and I don't want to blow her trumpet, but Leanne, as a public rep, has done more in the 6.5 months that she's been there than the people that were there before her for the last 4.5 years. You've got to be committed. You've got to be passionate. You've got to be available. You've got to be visible, and you've got to be determined. And there are incredible individuals in our party that are willing to put in their blood, sweat, and tears. We go above and beyond. I speak for myself. I've often spent nights out. The funniest story I can tell you is a lady calls me at 12 o'clock at night, at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. When is the power coming on? Eventually, and I'm on site. Eventually, she phones me at 6 o'clock and she's hysterical because the power is not on and she's expecting her power to be on. And I just had enough. I was cold. I was freezing. I was on the side of the road. So I said, ma'am, hold on. Let me give you a number. So I Googled the White House and I said, yeah, call this number. Speak to Donald Trump because he can sort you out at that sort of urgency. It's not an easy game, this. It's not an easy game. It's difficult. It's difficult being outside of the municipality, but I can tell you we're working wonders. I've got colleagues that get things done outside of their jurisdiction all the time, every day. Support the DA, support your local councillor, come out in your numbers, bribe later, bribe earlier, give us the 50% plus one, and we're going to make the magic happen. Why? Because the DA gets things done.
Thank you, Sean. And yeah, if you're not counted, if you're not counted, you're literally giving the other arsehole in the room the chance. So yes.
Your lips to God's ears.
Well, no, yeah. Let's hope people do stem any odor. So let's say stem, mark your kruis. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Stem da. So yes, guys, thank you. A lot of strong opinions happening here. Look, like I say, it's this whole vaccine. It's really a touchy subject, but we won't talk about that now. We'll save it for another show on another platform, perhaps. But guys, thank you so much for taking out the time and being with me, and yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks,
Okay,
Ruth. Keep up your good work asking those difficult questions. But thanks for your encouragement and assistance. And we're available
Yes, you are.
23/7.
Yes, yes. All righty, sir. Okay,
Anytime.
God bless. Hang in the background.
Cheers,
I just want to
Leanne.
say goodbye. Cheers.
Bye, Ruth.
Cheers, Sean. Yes, guys. So yeah, I do have numbers. I do have email addresses. If you guys do want to get in touch with people, we can. I do also maybe want to interview, if I can get hold of someone else from a couple of other parties. That would be interesting. Nicholas, I know you mentioned like it's a pipe dream, obviously trying to think that the DA will be in government, but like really, like if not them, then we might as well all just throw in the towel. Sport Cape Independent. Well, unfortunately I cannot leave my province. I can't get to the Cape just yet. Maybe when I'm older, I can get to the Cape. I don't have that luxury yet to get to, I mean, for instance, the first question that comes to mind, will there be a job for me there? You know, it's a hard question. It's great for some who have the ability and the infrastructure and the finances, and they're able just to, you know, I think it's a great, it's lovely. You know, I wish it for the Cape in a way. It would make sense. It makes sense to me. It's just like, I don't know, a couple of people have said it's really, really not possible, because what is the government going to do? Okay, now the Cape gets independence. Where does the Cape get all its water from? The rest of South Africa. Okay, well, guess what the rest of South Africa is going to do? Stop the water. Well, then Cape Town's going to dinkum have to make a plan with their water. I'm just saying hypothetically. But I mean, look, if I lived in Cape Town, I'd probably vote that way as well. But like for me, being stuck in one of the northern provinces, it's not going to happen. I don't know. You're welcome. I should put the link on and come on. We can talk more about it. Yes, we do need a referendum, but I mean that's in the Cape. We need more referendums about policy, huge policy, like the SAPs. Should the SAPs be given no votes of confidence? Hell yeah, definitely. I know I once reported a case, and literally, it was literally 18 months later, a detective rocked up. And we were like, why are you guys here? And they were all in civilian clothing. No, we're detectives. We had to investigate this thing that happened in 18 months ago. I'm like, oh, finally. So obviously you got the message. Meanwhile, the whole case had literally like melted away. It was all done and dusted. So yeah. So yeah, I'd like to finish that. Have faith. God provides. Have faith. Step 1. Yes. No, I think it's important I am a person of faith. So necklaces can be generated in the Cape. There is no issue there. All right, well, then I wish it for you guys. I really do. You know, c'est la vie. I just, maybe I'm a bit jealous that I can't get there sooner. Yeah, I don't know. I just know for where I live now, I'd much rather have a competent party. That seems, I'm just sick of the dictatorship and it's such incompetence. You have no idea. Like the most menial things. I mean, we're so far behind the rest of the world. It's like we're literally going backwards. That's what it feels like. We're not taking a step forward. We're taking 2 steps backward. Like, come on, Oaks. Like, this is our future. These are our kids' futures. If for those of you who are like, oh, I can't go anywhere. I don't have a UK, or I don't have an EU passport, or if I don't have, even I've got friends who love this country who could jet off to Italy right now. But they don't, because they love this country. This country is worth fighting for. We shouldn't get despondent. It's tough and it's cuck, but we have to give someone a chance. At least let them at least try. Anyway, that's me ranting. Yes, so as my son would say, let's not hope the the African National crooks continue, because I can't stand it anymore. Yes. All right. I saw a ram pump today. Pumps water without electricity. Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, listen, we're so past like other things where we don't have to rely on old ways. Come on, there's such amazing technology, and people are so clever, and people are so showing initiative and inventative. I cannot talk this evening. Must be my lipstick. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So exactly, there's always a solution. Well, Petsu, fair enough. From your mouth to God's ears. I'm jealous. No, but I think we have to. Yeah. That's another issue altogether. Like, imagine, right? Listen, I heard a news clip. A news clip about what's happening with that part of the world, and like it could really affect them, this whole pandemic, because of course it started with them or whatever. However, and at one point I was listening to this interview and I actually thought, is it like all set up like Vietnam? Is it like, or like some people believe the towers, like the only reason the towers went down was to start a war in Afghanistan for oil? Yeah, so it's just mind-boggling. It really is. It's mind-boggling. But definitely some countries, and that part of the world, they do things that I don't find ethical at all, especially when it comes to nature. I know they are destroying, just wiping out fields of trees and animals and things. They have no respect for life. I mean, you only have to go there to see that. But yeah, that's, thank God, not my monkeys, not my circus, not yet. Anyway, but thank you, people, for joining me. We'll catch you next Tuesday. I think I'm going to be talking about the curvy and the curly. Yes. So we'll be having a great guest on us, a very beautiful guest who's also trying new things in her life. And yeah, so everything curvy and curly. Yes, indeed. What's Mr. The NDR is MXCM. Okay, you're gonna have to elaborate on that one. I've heard of MXCM, but at this stage I can't quite. Yeah. What again? Well, we've all been told it. I heard it from, I think it was Natasha Mazone, that if the ANC do get another governmental term, it is over. It's scary. So think about it. I would say yes. Eventually vote for a smaller party if that's what you intrinsically believe, but give someone else a chance. I don't know, I'm fair like that. Yeah. Yeah, and all that world order stuff. But yes. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you on Tuesday. TTFN. Have a lekker weekend. Enjoy it. It's going to be a scorcher here in Gauteng. And it's going to, hopefully it will have, the sun will be shining in Cape. And everyone, just be, have your wits about you. Be chilled. Look up. Enjoy the outdoors. That's the one thing about this country. We have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful outdoors. We have incredible people. Chat to people you don't normally chat to. I don't know. Have a jolt, people. Yeah, be safe. Not about other things, but about like crime. Yeah, don't bash the boof in the face. Yes. Don't let him take you. You take him first. All right. Love you all. TTFN. Bye.